Hi, I'm Patrice, but my friends call me Patty. I've always had a dream to become popular, you know, like a real superstar or something, so that everybody would see me and whisper, "Hey, that's the girl," and stuff. I've been working so hard for my dream come true for the last year, and it did come true. Sort of. Everything started when I first saw the first bloggers on the internet. I was amazed by their lives and their abilities, like financially, I mean. For me, it seemed to be the easiest way to success and fame, so I decided to become a blogger myself. However, I faced my first problem as soon as I started, because I didn't know how to blog. I would just post pretty much everything. It was like, "Here I'm going to school," or "Hey, look at my lunch today," and so on. Of course, I had some followers, about 500 people I guess, but they were either my friends and family members or some advertising accounts, so it didn't satisfy me much. I even tried once to devote my blog to my hamster Polly, but she seemed to be a totally unsocial animal, and that idea failed. Once I was sitting at home and looking through my blog page and all the posts on it, I could feel how pathetic my blogging efforts were, because my photos were far from being like the ones I'd seen on my favourite bloggers' pages, and my texts were definitely not a philosopher's thoughts. I had almost decided to give up my idea, when I suddenly realised that somebody somehow showed up in almost every photo and video of mine that was taken at my place, except for me, of course. It was my creepy neighbour Alan, who lived across the street from me. He had recently moved to the neighbourhood with his parents, and he was totally weird. He wore the same long-sleeved shirt whenever I saw him in real life. Nobody talked to him at school, as far as I knew. Some people even thought that he had some mental and psychiatric disorders. Of course, he seemed to suddenly get caught by my camera's lens, either appearing from around the corner or staring from his garden at me while I was taking a selfie in my own garden. But I felt strange about it. I shared my thoughts about probably being stalked by a local weirdo, and that was it. My followers seemed to want to share my page with their friends or something, because I got a couple of hundred more subscribers that following week. Of course, the majority of my fans, so to speak, were from our town, but it didn't matter. My fame had found me. Once 2 girls had even come up to me at the local mall to say hi, and they said they knew me because of my weird neighbour. I kept posting my regular photos, but this time it had turned into a quest for my followers to find a stranger in them in the comments. This excitement over me being famous lasted, for me, no more than 2 weeks, when I suddenly realised that my neighbour Alan had been actually stalking me, and this time everything was done on purpose. I'll give you an example. Once I was in the kitchen trying to cook dinner when I noticed that Alan was staring at me from his window. I would think that this was a coincidence, but when I was in my bedroom and looked out the window, I once again saw him in his attic window, still looking straight at me. I got a little scared and worried, but tried to calm myself down, thinking that my eyes were just playing tricks on me. And you know what? I couldn't sleep well because of all that stuff. I had really bad nightmares that somebody was watching me, like 100% of the time, and I had even woken up in a cold sweat a couple of times. This almost drove me completely nuts, so I decided to go and talk to this strange guy and ask him why he was stalking me. I thought he'd deny that fact, but he didn't even try to. He told me that he'd noticed me trying to film every step of my life on camera. He'd gotten interested in it, and just wondered why I would want to do this. But then he came across my blog page on the internet, saw my post about him, and had gotten offended. After that, he started to follow me on purpose as a sort of revenge. I don't know why, but I became really angry and started to shout at him that he had no right to do that, because he scared me a lot. Then I fired a warning shot, saying that if he doesn't stop what he's been doing, I'll call the police. I turned away from him to set off for home when I heard him say that he didn't see the difference between letting people follow you online or in real life. I entered my house so furiously that even my mum, who was in the kitchen, noticed how nervous I was. I didn't want to tell her the whole story, so I just said that I hated that creepy guy who lives across the street from us. She said she just so happened to meet Alan's parents, like for a welcome tea or something, and it turned out that Alan was their adopted son. His whole biological family had died in a big fire less than a year ago. That's why he was so strange, and why he would wear long-sleeved clothing all the time. He'd been trying to hide his scars, and that was definitely the reason he was so distant from everybody else. I kept thinking over that situation for the rest of the day. From time to time, I'd look out of my window at Alan's house, but I didn't see him anywhere. I tried to find him on the internet, but I couldn't. I was looking through my blog page again and felt ashamed of my posts about him and for the comments people were making. I felt the need to do something to help this guy, so I deleted all my previous posts and made a new one that was completely different. I told his story there and asked my followers to be more kind to strange people that they think are weird. You can't even imagine the number of well wishes and supportive phrases in the comments that I received over the next couple of days. Some of my followers who had known my address even sent postcards for Alan, asking me to give them to him. I was really inspired and grateful, so I rushed immediately to cheer Alan up with all the stuff. I rushed to his door and just left all those postcards and comments I printed out earlier with a letter of apology from me on his doorstep, 'cause I thought he wouldn't want to talk to me anymore. But I was happy to be wrong. Now Alan and I are good friends. I no longer strive for popularity because I finally understood that there are things in life that are more important than that. If you guys were attentive enough, you picked up on the exact number of followers that I had before noticing Alan on my posts and after that. Be the first one to write the correct answer in the comments below this video. Feel free to share this with your friends for them to subscribe to this channel, just like you did.